Good morning and welcome to Creativity Reframed. In this week's session, we have another fantastic person who's going to chat to me about the role of creativity and problem solving that we've all experienced through this crisis, and that slightly optimistic lens within which we can learn from this experience. The person that I have with me today, I've known for a long time, but I haven't spoken to him for quite a while. We worked together in the games industry a long time ago. And Ian has gone on to have a fantastic career subsequently. And Ian Chambers, who joins me today, is the Chief Executive of Moshi, that I'm sure many of you will know is a very interesting and fantastic company. And so without further ado, Ian, welcome to Creativity Reframed. I'm really glad to have you here with me today. I hope you're well.
I'm really well, and yeah, thanks for asking me. It's lovely to see you again after all these years in these
Absolutely.
strange circumstances.
I know, and it's interesting, Ian, with a few other people that I've chatted to, it's kind of one of the things that I've definitely kind of enjoyed through this experience is actually reaching out to people, and people that, were we not Zooming left, right and centre, would probably not be kind of reconnecting with. So thank you so much for joining me today. So first up, the question that I kind of always start these sessions with, because I think it's quite a soul-searching piece really, which is, as a business leader and from both a personal perspective, how have you experienced COVID thus far?
Well, I guess personally, I feel incredibly fortunate. I think, I'm just so aware of how tough this period has been for so many people, and there's really nothing I can complain about, right? So I'm very focused on understanding how difficult it's been for people. From a company point of view, we've performed well, and we can go into the details of that. And that's been incredibly interesting. The team have been incredibly resilient. But I think one of the things we're pleased we've been able to do is that, I've seen so many companies and so many people impacted by COVID that, we've managed to hire a few of them in the last few weeks. And onboarding new hires in this world is tough. I think that's a whole new learning experience for everyone. We've done remote working for a long time in some ways, but the point is, recruiting really senior level employees into our organization. There's a lot to learn around that, but I'm just delighted we've been able to do that. And as much as I hope everyone else can do that, we've had just an incredible number of applications, and it just shows the challenges that are out there for people. And so I think, I'm focused on that. I think from a business point of view, the team have just been, I'm so proud of them. I mean, we're a young team, and they've just adapted so well to this. And I'd say, I've probably sort of always talked about flexible working and feeling like, we have a flexible setup. But the reality is it was probably kind of flexibility by permission. It was probably more like, oh, can I have a day for working from home, or can I? And it was always, yeah, it's fine, do it. And I think the difference now is we've shown that actually a successful team is about trust and focusing on delivery. We've kind of moved from what I would say is, flexible working by permission to, true flexibility and ownership. So that's going to change how we operate in the future. But I'll also say there's no substitute for being together as well.
Yeah, and I think it's very much, I guess, that kind of blended kind of new world of work, isn't it? That I think is going to be the step change. But absolutely, I think it's that new era of trust, isn't it? And actually, as you say, it's not a permission-based approach and almost a kind of an ad hoc-based approach. It's kind of just weaved into the fabric of how we work now, isn't it?
Well, it's responsibility. I mean, people want to do great jobs. This thought that, the leader can do this, but the others can't because can't be trusted to do it. It's nonsense. I mean, people want to do great jobs. They want to deliver. And they also, whether it's their families or personal, desires or whatever else it might be in their lives that they want to do, they also got a life to run. It's just silly that, if you need to have your boiler fixed, or you need to pick your kids up from school, or you need to go to the dentist, or you need to go to the doctor, or all these things that we all need to do, the idea that you somehow need permission to do those things, I think is now outdated. And I think we need to let people be responsible, take ownership of their lives and deliver. And I think ultimately they'll be more confident in themselves. They'll be better equipped for their lives. They'll be healthier, and I think they'll be more productive as well.
Absolutely. And so I guess, Ian, just from a perspective around problem solving and creativity and innovation through this, I'd love to hear from you about what you guys have kind of been up to during COVID with your products.
Yeah, sure. Well, let me just quickly tell you what it is for those listeners who may not know it. So Moshi is it's an audio app. It's this incredible IP of the world of Moshi that we took, and we said, let's turn it into the best content on the planet for helping kids relax and ultimately to fall asleep. And so we created, and we're creating this, just the most outstanding audio content that the team are making. And it's transforming family lives. It's incredibly heartwarming. You know, it started off as can we help kids get to sleep and help parents with that process? After you've read a book, you put the lights out, and it's the comfort blanket. And what it's turned into 2 years later is really a product that's transforming family lives. You know, we're seeing all kinds of incredible stories of how it's supporting families with their health and well-being. And so, coming into COVID, we were growing really well. We raised some capital, and we were looking at this going, right, this is going to be an incredible year ahead, and a lot of excitement. And of course, COVID came along, and suddenly we had to think, okay, well, what does this mean? I mean, we are incredibly fortunate because we're a product used in the home. We're a product that's supporting family well-being, and there's a lot we could do very quickly to become part of that support. And I think one obvious example is we very quickly created a bit of content around our character called Lurgy, and it's called Keep Lurgy Away the Moshi Washy Way.
Right.
And it's 5 minutes long, and it's just a really fun way of talking about washing your hands. And we put that out, I think, very late in March. But I think the amazing thing is that what this shows is that we've continued creating content at the same cadence throughout this crisis without going into a studio, and it just shows what's possible when you have a really tight organization. And I can see that in other organizations in better and worse degrees. The ones who have adapted really well to this and have gone out and are creating fantastic marketing campaigns still, and others you can see and go, there's clearly a lot of learning going on. Yeah. So I think I've been really proud of what the team have done, but I think what we've seen is, because there's been such a focus on anxiety, and kids are becoming more anxious, and we've read a lot about this recently, that we're now focusing even more on mindfulness and finding how we can help families with mindfulness and a mindful way of living. And so next week, actually, we're launching our first 7-day program around introducing families to mindfulness.
Sure.
And we're going to see how it goes. So we've kind of been focused on sleep up until now, and now we're going to see if we can focus on other moments through the day where our content can help families.
Fantastic. And as you say, and I mean, I think through COVID, and obviously this is going to endure beyond COVID, because I think obviously mindfulness has been growing in its importance for a number of years now, hasn't it? But I guess, as you say, I mean, almost that kind of quite life-changing role your product has played, you would have hoped might have been the case, but you've become an essential part of so many families' lives now, which is so lovely to hear.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, I'll give you one example, and these can be read on the app stores, right? There's tens of thousands of reviews, but the one that really hit home to me the other day was a lady contacted me and said, my daughter's been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and she has to go into hospital to administer the insulin injections because she really struggles with needles. And the mother suggested that she tried listening to Moshi as a way to ease this process. And then now, within 5 minutes, her words, within 5 minutes, she was doing this herself. And now Wow. that's how she deals with it. And when she wakes up in the night and has to check her blood sugar, Moshi goes on, and that supports her through it. And you read stuff like that, and you go, I mean, that's what this is all about for us. We really believe we can support, whether it's kids in hospitals and clinical sort of environments like that, which are quite cold, and there's a lot of auditory kind of cognitive load on them. Yeah. Through to schools and finding ways to have some time to just calm the class down at certain points during the day, and of course sleep, which is a massive issue. Sleep is the master switch to all our lives. If there's one thing we can all do to improve our lives, it's improve our sleep.
100%. Completely agree.
And we want kids to learn that early.